We're located in Johnston County, North Carolina, and Johnston County is known for its rich moonshining history. So we're kind of known for illegal brewing of spirits. So when we were opening a brewery and going around telling people about us, a lot of that was, hey, we're Johnston County's first brewery. And a lot of people would stop us and say, well, you're not the first one, but you're the first legal one. So Paul and I both love beer. It was our thing. We got into it because we were really enthusiastic about it.
We were avid home brewers. On the weekends was our brew time. We'd have the garage door open. Our neighbors probably thought we were doing something crazy. We did a lot of different beers for all our friends, for weddings, for special events, and you know, a lot of people told us, they're like, man, you should really do something, you know, you should really open a brewery or something.
Here we are 10 years later and we're still really into it and we still love what we do. It's become a lifestyle for us, not so much a job, and that's the thing we love about it. Clayton as a whole it's a really small town, it's historic. I think the best thing about people coming to Deep River is I want them to feel at home here. I want them to come in and I want them to have a beer. I want them to get to know people, get to know the bartenders. And I think that's always been our goal, is to have a really fun place for people to go and relax.
You can come here at any given day, get a brewery tour, try our beer, learn about our story. You know, look at it as more as a hub of the community and telling the story. This building was a cotton spinning mill built in 1902, so it's been around for over 100 years, and you know, bringing life back into an old bones building that could have just been knocked down. But I mean, we chose to invest in our downtown area and grow and create a community center.
I think one of our keys to success is the fact that we do a broad brush approach to beer. So instead of focusing on high gravity beers or focusing on IPAs, we actually have a large variety of beers that we do.
We approached it with, you know, creativity, trying to, you know, produce different beers, always having variety in the tap room. As you can see, we have 24 taps behind us here. At any given time, you can have 24 of our different beers on tap.
So we do everything from brown ales to IPAs to stouts to sours. So we have something for everybody.
If somebody comes in here and says they like beer but they can't find a beer they like, I'd be shocked.
So we do collaborate with some local farmers. For instance, we do a beer called Joko White Tater, and we actually go to a farm out in Johnston County and we pick up white sweet potatoes from them.
We roast those off, we add them into our mash in our brewing process, contributes flavor and color and sugar as well to the beer. So great addition to that beer.
So one of our more popular beers is called 4042 Chocolate Stout. It's actually named after the intersection of NC 42 and I-40. And in that beer, the chocolate actually comes from Videri Chocolate, which is a local chocolate roaster in downtown Raleigh.
It's amazing. The amount of agriculture we have, we see a lot more folks trying to, instead of planting grain for cattle feed, they're planting wheats and barleys in North Carolina for strictly beer production. So we've seen a lot of that over the past, and we've used quite a bit of it, and we'll continue to use more as it becomes available. The
main grain that we use comes in bulk, and that goes into the mash, and then it gets mixed with hot water, and that grain then becomes eventually spent grain, which means that we've extracted the sugars out of it, and it is now coming out of the mash tun, and we need to find a use for it. So one of the things that we do with our grain is we provide it to local farmers.
Well, they're actually eating the spent grain. They have, I don't know the technical words for it, but they've run the water through the grain and then they've exhausted the water, and what's left is the wet grain. This actually means the world to me and my family, because it supplements the food that they have in the pasture, and it supplements the hay that we cut for them every year. And it's a good source of food for them, and they love it, and they can hear the truck coming down the road and they are ready for it.
So when we opened in 2013, downtown Clayton didn't really have a lot to it.
We've been advocates for, growth, or maybe like a lightning rod for growth in our community.
And now here we are 10 years later, and downtown is packed with businesses, and it's packed with people all the time, which is so amazing to see.
Being a selling point for the community in a downtown walkable area is great, and being able to have a positive influence on the community where, a lot of the negative connotation about alcohol and stuff sometimes is it's not family friendly, but we have people that bring their families up here, including their four-legged friends.
Oh, every time you go by, parking lot's full. Like I said, they always have their calendars well in advance, up to a year, of all the cool upcoming events that they're going to have, their food trucks that are going to be there. And it's just always calling and adding to it.
Weekly, we host music bingo. Thursday we have Run Club, which has an average about 50 runners that show up, especially if there's good weather. Friday and Saturday we have live music. Sunday we have yoga. And we also host once a month our sip and shops. So we have around 10 to 15 vendors, depending on the time of year, but they are all local vendors from Clayton, Raleigh, Cary, you name it.
We were under 100 breweries in the state when we opened. I think we were 90 something, and now we're over 400 breweries in the state. It's a thriving industry.
Craft beer is definitely here to stay. I know we've been around for 10 years. We've seen the whole industry blossom. And in another 10 years, I see it being just as viable. I see it being just as popular.
The brewing industry is 99% free, and I don't know, that might get edited out, but competitors, which aren't really competitors, because again, I think the more knowledge everyone has, the more knowledge base all of our unique breweries have in the state, it raises the tide for all the ships. We get better at our industry and our craft, and we see that through collaboration.